Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeromy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeromy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a good night. I'm sorry about the confusion. We had we had a interview planned for yesterday, and Rick and I could not get the audio working. It's not anybody's fault. Poor Rick's not used to the whole, Zoom and links and all that stuff. So we were on board. We had it all set to go, and then it just didn't work out. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show him a little bit of how to do that, and we'll be back. For those that usually know, usually I do it at Wednesday night about 8:30. So if you're new to the show, that's typically when I do it. But I thought tonight would be a good idea to do it on Thursday at 7, which may or may not have been a good idea because of how busy we were at the office, which was fantastic though. But at the same time, it was like kind of rushing, which I hate doing, but it is how it is. So if you don't want to miss one though, ever, right? You don't want to miss one ever. Start looking at it. The Prize Inside, a chiropractor journey on Rumble, the Prize Inside, a chiropractor journey on YouTube, also Spotify. If you like the podcast version of things, we have all that kind of going for us too. And my last and final one is sign up for my newsletter, because you would have known after a few minutes I would have sent out an email that said, hey, Rick and I are having technical difficulties. We couldn't get it done. And you would have known. You wouldn't have been waiting for me on that night. I mean, I understand it's hard to wait for me, but as you go, that's what actually happened. So that's why not in a t-shirt tonight. Had to run around Rachel and I, oh man, hopefully you guys are having a good week. It's exciting. Kids going back to school. My youngest one is a senior. It's pretty exciting times. Um, doing a few things. This Sunday, make sure you're with me. So Sunday at 8:30, we do 1% Tribe. And this week we're going to be talking about kombucha. So kombucha benefits, all the kind of stuff. And so we'll be going through that because I thought that would be a cool herbal that we always talk about the different ones. Very Facebook AI marketing, all those kind of things. But sometimes kombucha and learning how to do something for yourself could be a really good thing. And I'm in the middle of doing one, currently. So I'm pretty excited about that. Got my what they call SCOBY done. So the SCOBY is ready to make some good tea. So I'm just trying to find a good one to make a good one for the fam to see how they like it. So don't forget tribe1.substack.com. So tribe, the word tribe1.substack.com, and you can get in my newsletter. And now I know how to do these live videos there as well. So it comes right to your email like immediately after. So I thought that was cool. Tonight is Whole Health Weekly. Whole Health Weekly is a time where we kind of go through the latest news, the news of the day, the new nutrition, holistic, anything that's out there that may be worth taking a look at, right? And we've talked about several different topics that are out there. One that hit the mainstream that I want to tell everybody, let me put my banner up. Make sure you guys see that, tribe1.substack.com. One that hit this week, I don't know if you saw it. It kind of like through my podcasting world, this guy brought it up and I was like, whoa, that's a big deal. So, and it in a holistic sense is, we're going to talk about discernment, right? So like not throwing everything baby out with the bathwater because we just don't know enough information yet, right? So there's a company called Moderna. Moderna is a drug vaccine manufacturer, and they're in 1 day, 1 hour or something, their stock doubled. And the reason it doubled is because they got a vaccine to go to the third step of clinical trials, which is like human, for cancer type situations. Now, I haven't done enough research on this to know too much yet. I know this is the way that a lot of medical is going. Now, when you hear the word vaccine, we got to look at it in different perspectives. Like, what is it doing? Mechanism. To be truly holistic, what you got to do is you kind of have to understand the physiology. I was having a good talk with a patient today. He is big and follows a lot of homeopathy. So homeopathy is a whole different thing. It's something I don't dabble in. There's professionals out there, but they're kind of like a rarer breed of professional because it's so much information, those kind of things. Homeopathy, I don't want to hurt because it's a very, very detailed situation, uses a lot of different things. But one thing I do know about homeopathy is sometimes they will actually introduce a poison basically to the body to get the immune system to, go in that direction. Now it's a whole different concept of, health and healing, because it's kind of like that. There's a book where oh man, if anybody's watching and they want to put it in the comments, oh shoot, there's a book that the girl grows up in poisonous flowers, and then no one can get near her because she's immune to all these poisonous flowers, so she's in the area of the flowers all the time. So it's kind of similar to that. Like homeopathy uses a lot of those different kinds of things, like something that you're allergic to, they may introduce it to you, in essence, to teach your innate intelligence hey, this is not an enemy to the world, right? And so homeopathy is very different. And sometimes I bring that up because potentially we'll see the word vaccine mean something different, like, and some of them, there's obviously, challenges to that world. And I don't really usually bring it up because of the the innate intelligence within us does a lot, right? So it doesn't need some of these things. But this could be a potential that could be interesting. So we'll watch that as we go. I thought that was cool, something cool that was happening in health. Um, but when you see I was telling Rachel, I was like, when you see a stock double in price, like go from, like, let's say 60 to $120 in a day, that tells you that something is brewing, and they think they're onto something. So, but it'd be fascinating in the cancer stuff. But I got to see the physiology of how it works before we, you know, throw that in as one of those good ones. Kind of what happened with me and peptides. Like, I was like, peptides are just this. I don't know. Kind of. There's a lot there. You can use the word anabolic steroids. In some of the fame or fashion with these different peptides. So are they innate intelligence? Depends on the use, right? So a lot of times, there's going to be stuff out there that's going to touch the level of, like, where we think discernment would be. But in essence, when you think of innate intelligence, you want to think always that your body is the driver. The cells of your body understand and know all things, right? It's the most intelligent thing we got, right? So if it's allowed to do the work, we will have, perfect health. Its problem is like getting thoughts, toxins, and trauma in the way is how, health goes awry, or when we have, instead of ease, we have dis-ease. Okay. So with that said, let's go into, I'll keep it kind of short tonight just to make sure, but there's some good information out there, and be ready because I got a couple more interviews coming up, and I know we'll have good luck. I've had good luck most of the time, and we'll have Rick on for sure. I can't wait for that, actually. But let's look into the health news this week. So this one is cool. This one's from Science Daily. All right, we're going to go to it. It says, this is August, actually today. So knee osteoarthritis isn't inevitable. Here's what you can do. Okay. Knee pain is and this study was done by the Siteman Cancer Center. And this is a good article. That's why I'm starting with it. But knee osteoarthritis can seriously affect mobility and quality of life, but its progression isn't completely out of your control. Exercise, stronger leg muscles, a healthier diet, and even modest weight loss can dramatically reduce stress on the knees and help keep knee pain in check. Okay. So they did this study. We know how that. Okay. Okay. So this is the crux of this article is that this study was done. So people who already have osteoarthritis have several options for managing the pain and mobility problems. Healthy habits, which we'll talk about in a minute, along with can be some medical treatments, may also help slow the condition from getting worse. Eating more plant-based diets and less processed sugary foods to reduce inflammation can reduce the pain from osteoarthritis in all joints. We kind of know that part, right? Other common treatments for knee osteoarthritis include strengthening thigh muscles and using knee braces, taking anti-inflammatory medicines, which I don't agree because you can get some herbs. Cortisone injections, not great. Yeah. So what I would suggest here's my thing. Okay. So on osteoarthritis, yes, we've seen it. I've seen some of the worst knees that have been told that they need. I have as many as you can think of people that have been told they need a knee replacement and they end up potentially not having it. Right. And so that doesn't happen every time. There's times where it's definitely a need. Right. And all the time, but it's nice to have the option, right? So that's very true. But how do we prevent it? How do we do that? Like an osteoarthritis of the knee is a very critical one. One is understanding the science and the roles. I believe that the mechanics of, well, the spine and nervous system can be a very big one, that can lead to altered mechanics in your legs. That altered mechanics in your legs leads to you not walking correctly, right? Because the nervous system isn't working properly and the communication paths and blah, blah, blah. So all of those can be a big one, right? And into there, which makes your walking pattern, different. What I've been taught by my guy, I think, let me look that up real quick. I got something cool. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is really cool. Well, we'll come to that in a minute. Okay. So basically, osteoarthritis, one of the things that I've noticed is think of mechanics. So if your spinal mechanics, let's say your hips and your pelvis aren't working properly, right? So it's kind of like think of the alignment of a car. So if we're not alignment wise in the proper function, then how we expect the tires and the joints of the car, the ball joints to work properly, right? So all of those things have to stay in alignment. So from the pelvis, the spine, all the way through, right? So you want to overall get the nervous system checked and clear to make sure the nervous system's working right. Once that happens, we have what they call, you have these patterns, right? So then you learn, right? Remember the epigenetic stuff, right? So from the age birth to 6, we are a tape recorder, right? So we're learning our environment as we go. So birth to 6, we're learning how to live, how to do those things. You also are learning movement patterns. The movement patterns of your family and your parents, right? And so because that is there, as we're walking and doing those things, we kind of take on that role. It's not necessarily genetic that you walk funny. It's kind of genetic, but it's a learned genetics, if that makes sense. So sometimes the mechanics of how your feet, your knees, your hips work is something to actually work on, and that's why we stress highly getting, children adjusted at a regular and a very early age. We have one, it's a pretty exciting, really cool story. It was kind of like between Dr. Matt and I, but there was a kid, and Dr. Matt's really big into running. So like understanding the running, and we were watching this kid and he was struggling because he was, his knees, his hips, his ankles, low back, all the things. They were hurting on a regular basis. And he loved to run, the kid did. And so what we did was we'd adjust him, but then we also sent him for, there was a specialist near us in like how to train to run, like really get the mechanics down of running. Well, this kid got so good at it that and it became such an addiction. He went to a 4-year university and like did really well. He had a great, college career. And one of the things that I thought was so profound is like, man, with my kids, I was lucky. I could watch them, watch what we needed to work on, and we could actually, move the needle as far as biomechanics concerned. A lot of times that is the way, you can really, really get into, making sure that, let's say your parents had a knee problem and you're starting to have a knee problem. Get your kids, figured out and evaluated so they're not kind of walking in that same pattern, right? And so a lot of times with knee stuff, I believe it's your feet. I believe it starts with the feet and your, like your spine and all those things, but the feet are the key. Making sure that the feet are mechanically correct and strong, right? And so one of the things that article picks up on, though, that people don't realize is strong legs literally create the ability to separate those knees apart. Okay. So one of the things that happens over time and why knees get so bad is that we don't have really strong legs. And the reason we don't is because we work a lot on those feet, right? So we work on feet. We have crappy shoes that you have to do these work boots and stuff. And those work boots don't have the best mechanics at heart. And then our body isn't necessarily mechanically going in the right direction. So we twit, like our feet are the most important. And if you have weak feet, then we have some major issues. Now, so one of these podcasts I'm going to do on like barefoot running, barefoot walking, a lot of those kind of things. If life was perfect and we were able to, walk barefoot all the time, we'd have a lot less knee issues because our feet would be strong, our calves would be strong, our quads, our hamstrings, all of those things would strengthen. When they're strong, your knee literally like will help separate and keep that joint space in there. Okay. Because the muscles are strong enough to combat the forces on the knee. Okay. I've belabored this a little bit, but remember, getting your mechanics correct. Like, it doesn't take anything for you to ask your chiropractor, right? Evaluate how I'm walking or running. And so I'll do that with people. I want to do it more often. I actually have a kid in mind right now. Just say, hey, have mom, have dad video you walking and running. And then we can say, hey, these are the things that we can work on that are very simple that will lead to, like maybe improving your knees, right? So if you go back, there's a hip video that I did like 2 weeks ago and these different types of movements in the hip. And so if you go back, if you're a subscriber to The Prize Inside on Rumble or YouTube, you can check that out yourself and go check it out. It was on the hips and it gave some good exercises because sometimes you don't need you need leg strength and hip or in knee mobility, right? So we want to make sure that knee is constantly easily flowing in that knee. Okay. Sometimes it's not possible. We got other things that happen, right? But in a perfect world, let's get that knee movement going in the right direction. Okay. So, gosh, sorry, that took a long time. All right. Ooh, I like this one. I don't know if it's actually true, but here we go. So this one's August. This is University of Oulu in Finland. Coffee drinkers may have less fat, more muscle, and surprising hormone differences. A Finnish study found that people who drank more coffee tended to have less total and abdominal fat, more muscle, and healthier metabolic markers, despite having similar BMIs, which is BMI is the weight thing, the percentage. So higher coffee intake was also linked to lower levels of certain amino acids associated with insulin resistance and type 2 diabetic risk. All right. So researchers from the University of OULU analyzed information from 2,264 people who are 46 years old and taking part in the Northern Finland birth cohort in 1966. The team investigated how participants' usual coffee intake related to circulating metabolites, indicators of cardiometabolic risk, and sex hormone levels. People who consumed more coffee tended to have lower levels of both total body fat and visceral fat, along with greater skeletal muscle mass. These differences appeared even though participants with higher and lower coffee intake had similar body mass index. God, I could not remember that. Higher coffee consumption was also associated with lower circulating concentrations of branched chain amino acids in both men and women. When chronically elevated, when branched chain amino acids are chronically elevated, these biomarkers have previously been associated with insulin resistance and a greater risk of getting type 2 diabetes. So that's a pretty cool article. Coffee in essence is like an herbal, right? And so caffeine, those kind of things, it's an INE. And so can be a nervine, okay? So it's one of those things that coffee in essence isn't too bad. It's overdone, right? Like just anything, like marijuana, whiskey, all the alls. If you do too much of it, obviously you're going to cause yourself an imbalance there, because it'd be like any kind of herb in that sense. You can do way overdo it, because that's why your innate intelligence will then react, in that direction. So caffeine over time is not the greatest. Coffee, I've always recommended, if you can do black coffee sometime, and that'll give you that caffeine that you need, but you stay away from like the fake sugars and all those kind of things. But it shows you, there was a Finnish study that shows that it could be okay for you. So just remember that when you're beating yourself up over your next cup of Java. So I thought that was good. All right. Okay. So with that said, let's go on. I think that's all we have for tonight. That is really good. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. So let's go into my favorite part, is Dr. Mercola's articles. So this is Dr. Mercola. He does a giant blog website that has pretty much every holistic health article on the planet in there. I recommend him highly. Make sure if you ever get a chance, get on his website, get on his email. You will get some good articles on holistic medicine and just good answers to be like as it's going. Okay. All right. Let's do. Okay. I lost it. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a minute. Okay. So okay. Oh, I like this one. This one's a pretty good one. Is your body running on empty without you knowing it? Okay. And this one, the analysis of the article is by Dr. Joseph Mercola. Okay. So scientists reveal creatine's hidden power behind muscle gains. So we're going to talk about this one. I like this. Creatine acts like a rapid energy backup system for your cells. So your body creates it. Remember that. Helping your muscles, brain, and heart regenerate ATP during physical exertion, mental stress, and recovery from illness or aging. Research suggests creatine may support not only exercise performance, but also aspects of memory, mood, and mental processing speed, particularly in older adults and people with lower creatine stores, though more evidence is needed. Decades of controlled research found no evidence that standard creatine doses damage healthy kidneys, cause dehydration, or directly trigger hair loss, despite years of internet myths. Your body naturally produces creatine, but stress, inactivity, aging, heavy workloads, and low intake of animal-based foods often create an energy shortfall that leaves you feeling mentally and physically drained. Creatine monohydrate remains one of the most researched forms, and daily doses of maybe 3 to 5 grams achieve muscle saturation compared to aggressive high doses loading over time without digestive discomfort. So why did I bring this up? So a lot of times, let me see where else the article. Let's read this one and then we'll discuss. So every second your body stays alive, your cells burn through massive amounts of ATP, which is your energy molecule, right? The energy molecule that powers movement, thinking, repair, and survival itself. Creatine sits at the center of that process, acting like a fast backup battery system that helps your cells regenerate ATP the moment the demand spikes. While most people associate creatine with bigger biceps, heavier deadlifts, and that narrow view dramatically underestimates what this compound actually does in your body. Unlike trendy supplements that rise and disappear, creatine stands on decades of rigorous research. Scientists have tracked its effects far beyond the weight room into the brain, the heart, and aging nervous system, and the recovery pathways your body relies on during illness and stress. So, one of the big things to understand about creatine is creatine monohydrate. Your body produces it. Think of melatonin. So melatonin's a hormone that allows your brain to kind of go into that restful night's sleep, right? Your body creates it. It's also an herb or a supplement, right? So if you take melatonin, you're literally doing something that your body creates. Creatine's the same way. Now, what's interesting about melatonin as we age, though, is that our melatonin stores go down and we don't produce as much, leading to maybe we don't sleep as well, those kind of things. One of the things that you have to look at, especially in melatonin and creatine, it's the same process. So the creatine is, as we age, we don't produce as much. Now, when you hear me talk trash about peptides, right? Most of the time this is the one area that you can be like, okay, maybe it's a place that you could go. Creatine, as you age, is something that can be very good to supplement because your muscles need it and it helps with your ATP production, your energy production. It doesn't need to be just, and it can be one of those things, even if you're not like a bodybuilder weightlifter, to increase your energy throughout a day. I really believe it's our lack of these things, like overtime, eating processed food, blah, 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 whatever gets us to that point where we're not building the muscle we used to, right? So, as we age, are we building the muscle mass that we would like to? And I would say we don't. And why is that? Because the system is broken, right? Somewhere. And the broken system is not allowing your innate intelligence to grow the muscle that you would want. And so that's where creatine can be a formidable opponent. Now, there's going to be some people that are like, do it every day, blah, 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 blah. I really strongly disagree with that. I think you have to do runs. So I believe that you would do creatine for a while, be off of creatine, allow your body to, kickstart the production of it. Because if the innate intelligence sees that it's there, you take it away, you'll be like, oh, I'd like to produce that, right? So we're trying to get the body to kind of kickstart the production again of this creatine. And I've seen it work. Once you've put in the work, right? And so I had a patient, one of my interviews is going to be in September. I think it's September 2nd. I think our next interview will be, she started running a fantastic CrossFit style gym where people are doing high intensity workouts, but the results are crazy because these are ladies that maybe never lifted before. And, once they start, I had a patient, she just got big. She got strong. I mean, you could see the difference. And I'm like, what are you doing? You were always like the meek and mild, and now you got shoulders, She probably did. She started laughing. She's like, well, I've been working out and I feel so much better. It feels like my chiropractic, the adjustments hold better, and all those. And I'm like, yeah, I'm guessing they do. Cause she was a beast. And that's how I'm going to get this interview person on, because they were able to build strength. Right. And that's something to watch for, and like, as you go, some of these natural supplements can help those kind of things, like having a great multivitamin. We need to give the innate intelligence of our body the tools needed, right? So in a perfect world, we could get it through diet and all, like all those kind of things. And you can get some creatine through meats and fats and like all those things. But if our diet isn't there, what happens to our creatine level? It starts to reduce. So just remember that Creatine monohydrate, good one. Children, let's talk about that. So in melatonin, you wouldn't necessarily give kids that because they make a really good amount of melatonin. So you don't want to get their body reliant on it so that the innate intelligence says, hey, you already produce it. I'm going to go do something else, right? If I'm already producing, gears at the shop, gears at the manufacturing place, I don't want to do more gears, right? So your innate intelligence is going to go to sprockets, right? So that's how smart your body is. So we don't want to do that in the younger ages because you want their natural creatine, you want their natural melatonin to kind of express through what they're doing. The best way to do that is making sure that their diet is really good and clean. And then when they're working out, you're like working with it because that's the way these kids will be able to keep a lot of that stuff. Okay. So just remember that as we age, creatine monohydrate might be something, you kind of do. Just make sure it's good and natural and don't fall for the, ad ones that are constantly out there. So I thought that one was good. All right. Okay. So I like this one. Okay. So this one's pretty good. Scientists raise concerns about effects of this commonly prescribed sleeping pill. So this is Dr. Joseph Mercola again. This is called, and I don't know this drug well, so it's called a low dose of quintilepine improves sleep. Let me read the title first here. Doctors prescribe it every day to help people sleep, but new findings raise concerns about what it could be doing the following morning. So a low dose of quetiapine, Quetiapine, improved sleep quality and reduced breathing interruptions during sleep, but participants showed slower reaction times and poor driving performance the following morning. Some participants performed worse on objective alertness tests, even though they didn't feel especially sleepy, raising concerns about hidden impairments during everyday activities such as driving. Quetiapine is approved for schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, yet millions of prescriptions are written each year for insomnia, despite limited evidence about its effect on next day functioning. Better sleep measurements don't always translate into better daytime performance, highlighting the importance of evaluating how a treatment affects both nighttime rest and daytime alertness. Consistent sleep schedules, limiting evening light exposure, avoiding late night meals, creating a sleep friendly bedroom, and reducing nighttime exposure to electronic devices help improve sleep without relying on sedation medications. So, this is one of those that, like always, there's going to be, if they got a sleeping pill, it doesn't matter if it's this quetiapine or whatever. It could be many different ones. There's going to be a ramification to your body, right? And so what you want to do always, especially in a sleep situation, is really work on trying to find some holistic, natural way to go to sleep. There's many options. In the herbal world, there's like ridiculous amount of options. And so, but you have to try them. You have to go, back and forth, those kind of things, meditations. There's so many things. And like what they were saying in setting up your bedroom, right? Making sure it's nice, a nice environment, good and dark, black, right? So many of us, and this is weird, but Rachel and I do not. Oops, I just did something. I pushed a button. Okay, I'm good. Okay, let me make sure I didn't screw up. Okay, I just reduced my whole screen. Wow, that was wild. So Rachel and I do not have a TV in our room. Now, sometimes I'll be listening to a podcast or something. So that's still a bad habit. But we won't have a TV in our room because of the situation that's there. Okay. And so because, like it doesn't allow that sleep pattern to occur. So a lot of times you really, really want to, set yourself up for success. Electronics, there's this EMF or electronic magnetic frequency radiation. that can happen, like from, outlets and phones and computers and all those things. So a lot of us are going to bed with our phone in our hand, right? And so because we're doing that, sometimes it can be a major, major issue. And so you want to give yourself the best opportunity you can when it comes to sleep. So just remember that. All right. And we'll do one more tonight, and I'll leave it because it's a weird night. Oh, where is that at? Oh, here's a good one. Okay, so this is the one we're going to end on. The role of food nutrients in reducing oxidative stress linked to microplastics. I know a lot of my patients, a lot of people are very concerned about the microplastics that they're finding in like everything, right? And so how do we do this? How do we, go after this area and see what we can do? Okay. So the role of food nutrients in reducing oxidative stress linked to microplastics. Avoiding exposure is only part of the equation. Scientists are uncovering hidden defense systems that could change the conversation. Microplastics and nanoplastics are now found in food, water, and air, and research suggests that they accumulate in organs such as the liver, the pancreas, kidneys, and brain. Also in reproductive organs as well. Laboratory and animal studies indicate that they may contribute to oxidative stress, inflammation, and insulin resistance in these areas. The same biological I knew that was going to happen. Olive woke up. You got to hear that. The same biological changes linked to microplastic exposure are also associated with type 2 diabetes, including impaired blood sugar control, disrupted gut bacteria, and metabolic dysfunction that develops long before symptoms appear. In animal studies, nanoplastics, which are microscopic, crossed the blood-brain barrier, where they triggered inflammation, interfered with how the brain cells use glucose for energy, and contributed to memory and learning problems associated with cognitive decline. Your body has a built-in defense mechanisms against these microplastics. Remember, no matter what the universal environment does to us, the innate intelligence usually has an answer. Okay. Your body has this built-in defense system called NRF2. Okay. That helps neutralize oxidative stress and repair cellular damage, and many nutrients found in colorful fruits, herbs, spices, and other plant foods help activate this protective pathway. So we're trying to activate NRF2. While eliminating all microplastic exposure is no longer actually realistic, reducing everyday plastic use, supporting healthy metabolism, tracking HOMA-IR, which we'll talk about in a minute, and eating a wide variety of nutrient-rich foods helps strengthen your body's resilience against plastic-related damage. All right, let's go. All right. Shifts conversation. Where's the good stuff? Okay. Okay. Okay, this is all the stuff you know. Okay, here we go. So this is how you start and activate the NRF2. Okay, so this is the stuff. So rather than acting through a single mechanism, these nutrients targeted multiple stages of damage process, including antioxidant defenses, glucose metabolism, inflammation control, neuronal survival, according to lab animal research. So this one called your ursolic acid, which is found in apple peels, berries, and herbs, improved memory, reduced the beta amyloid toxicity, and increased antioxidant enzymes activity. Verbascoside is a plant compound found in the species of the lilac, the mullein. Remember, mulleins are very good herb for immune defense, lemon verbena, improved gut health, reduced inflammatory markers, and enhanced insulin sensitivity in the brain, supporting the growing connection between the gut-brain axis and cognitive health. Diosmin, these are all like compounds found in the plant. So diosmin, a flavonoid concentrated in the white pith of the citrus fruit, which is exactly the part of that most people discard, boosted antioxidants defenses and improved both working and long-term memory. Biacylene is a flavonoid extracted from the roots of the Chinese skullcap, Scutellaria, which is a fantastic herb. It reduces neuroinflammation, lowered beta amyloid plaque formation, and improved glucose metabolism and insulin signaling in the brain. After I kind of found this article, I was like, oh man, Chinese skullcap is one that I think I'm going to start talking to. I got a couple of people with some different brain injuries, and we're going to talk about that one with them. Cynarin is another major compound, but this one's found in artichokes. It reduces inflammation, lowered beta amyloid and tau protein accumulation, and improved cognitive performance in Alzheimer's models. But just remember, starting to eat clean and making sure that your immune system is at that level could be huge. So apple peels, fresh herbs, artichokes, citrus fruits, just all these different foods could potentially get you to where you want to go. So I thought that was amazing article, because we so you know how the internet is. So it's constantly fear porn. It's driven me actually nuts the last probably 2 months, because there's a ton of people that like to give their ideas of fear porn on all things. No solutions though. We never talk online about actual solutions that may be out there. So microplastics are one of those big ones. I don't want you getting sucked into this is the next supplement of all things, when we have so many things, citrus, berries, all these different things that could potentially help us, get this NRF2 going in our body that says, all right, immune system, do your thing, get rid of these stupid microplastics that are in all the things. And I'm going to do my best to not, have issues. I'm going to do my best to drink water out of a metal container, do all these type of things so that I reduce my amount of these microplastics. And maybe we can get out of this thing with a little better than we were, while trying to fight and get rid of these microplastics in every part of our environment. So, yeah. So I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to do tonight. Okay. And then, thank you guys for being patient and understanding that my Wednesday one was my Thursday one this week. And putting up with our missed technology yesterday. But if you still don't want to ever miss anything, as we go, please subscribe to the tribe1.substack.com on the newsletter. Subscribe to the Prize Inside a Chiropractor's Journey on Rumble, the Prize Inside a Chiropractor's Journey on YouTube, or just listen to me on Spotify. That's always fantastic as well. But you guys have the great rest of your week. I know it's a little weird this week, but be ready. Kombucha's coming on Sunday, and I hope to have a great conversation on that. And let's get it done. All right. Enjoy your week. Send the kids back. They deserve it. They've been driving us nuts no, I'm just kidding. They've been great. So, well, hopefully everybody's ready. Eat well before you go back to school. It'll make a big difference. Make sure they're eating clean. All right. You guys have a good night.